13岁的妹妹遭遇了性侵，不料凶手竟是被杀死的父亲。可面对警察的询问，姐妹俩居然谎称歹徒是打碎窗户玻璃、拉开窗栓进来的，随后就把刀架在了妹妹脖子上。
He kissed me, and he put his fingers inside me, and I couldn't move. And then my dad came home.
然后歹徒就冲向了父亲，姐妹俩则趁机躲进了房间，锁上了房门。没想到最后父亲就这么被害了。然而法医却发现了3个疑点：一是父亲身体上没有防御伤，不像抵抗过。
Problem number 2. The stab was shallow. Any adult with wherewithal would put pressure on the wound, call 911.
But he didn't?
No, he didn't. He didn't have wherewithal, which leads me to problem number 3. I found undigested wine in his stomach and a whopping blood alcohol level.
So he could have been passed out.
At the very least, extremely drunk.
Maybe he went to the bar before he came home.
Or the daughters aren't telling us the whole story.
那就需要再调查了。结果竟发现父亲喝的是家里的酒，很可能是以醉倒在沙发上，然后再被刺死的。接着又发现从窗户破洞处伸进手来，根本够不到窗栓，这更加证实姐妹俩撒谎了。然后警察就又把姐妹俩传唤到了派出所，重新审问了一遍。不料姐姐先是谎称父亲是去酒吧喝的，结果下一秒就被戳穿了。哪知她竟反问：“难道我说谎了？”对此警察还不想下定论，只是轻轻地说了一些细节让解释。不成想姐姐反倒激动起来，大喊：“反正父亲已经死了，谁杀的还有区别吗？”可她越是这样，警察的疑惑就越深，但也只是慢慢引导。是否凶手另有其人，而你需要替他隐瞒，接着保证不管对方是谁，我们都会保护你。眼见警方紧追不放，姐姐终于绷不住承认了。
You had to.
You had to what?
I had to protect my sister from my own father. My own father was raping my sister.
没想到竟是这么回事，姐姐居然是杀父凶手，难道又是一场悲剧？至此，受害者和加害者身份转换了。警察不得不先为姐妹俩请了律师，然后才接着正式审问了起来。俩人也就坦白了。
We usually come home from school together, except for Thursdays, 'cause I have band practice. So that Thursday, I came home, and the bathroom door was locked, and I heard her inside crying. So I told her that she had to tell me what was wrong.
What did she say?
Started after New Year's, January. It was only a few times on Thursdays before Brittany came home.
Laura told me that when he was drunk, he would go into her room at night.
We'd lay on the couch. He'd unzip his pants, put his penis inside me. It hurt, but he said that's what people who love each other do.
可警察也不能立马就信了，于是就问他告诉过其他人没，这需要去证实。结果妹妹除了对姐姐说过外，还曾试着告诉过邻居永强，是在新年后的一个星期天。那接下来警方就是要核实这些说辞了，于是决定先去找永强。结果当听到妹妹被父亲性虐后，永强顿时惊呆了，一脸不敢相信，但也表示父亲虽然酗酒，可也十分爱2个女儿。不过警察接着就问出了想知道的问题，对此永强还真记得那天父亲喝醉了，于是妹妹就来了这里。她看上去有点不安，并说她生她爸爸的气，不想再住家里了，这应该就对上了，只是妹妹并没有明说而已。然而正当本森和检察官研究怎么给姐姐定罪之际，有警探突然来报告，刚才走访了父亲的公司，老板说每周4父亲都主持例会，不可能早回家的。
So he couldn't have been home sexually abusing his 13-year-old daughter.
那这就需要再审问姐妹俩了。不料糟糕的是，他们的父亲立有遗嘱，竟指定永强作为姐妹俩的监护人。当警探提出再次审问的要求后，永强却当面拒绝了，这让警察很是无奈。而检察官也确定，未经监护人同意，警方是无法找姐妹谈话的。可此时警察已经怀疑永强也参与了谋杀，只有2姐妹知道真相，但只要永强这个监护人在，他们就没办法问到。哪知聪明的检察官立马想到，只要找到质疑监护权的证据就行了。于是警察就按照这个思路仔细研究起了遗嘱，结果还真发现了疑点，在姐姐的名字拼写中有一个字母和出生证明上的不一样，显然真正的父亲是不会写错子女名字的，因此那份遗嘱不是父亲写的。随后为了证实这一点，警察来找了父亲委托的遗嘱律师，然后拿出了他的照片，哪知律师竟不认识。接着警察又拿出了永强的照片，结果律师却说这才是父亲。于是警察当即反问，你不觉得这个人太年轻了吗？不料律师却称他拍了2个女孩的身份证来的，谁会闲得在这件事上撒谎？而这个理由彻底让俩人无语了。那接下来就简单了，警察直接来到永强家里，要把他和姐妹俩都带走，却不料妹妹突然冲了过去，不想离开永强。即使警察用了枪，她也死活不想和永强分开，还大喊我爱你。这一看就有情况呀。但越不正常，警察越是要将姐妹俩和永强分开。不料到了派出所后，永强只愿承认犯了欺诈罪，并且这也有不得已的苦衷，理由是有天父亲曾对我说他想自杀，我对此深信不疑，因为他酗酒还很压抑。而现在回过头看，他对小女儿做了那种事，显然心中充满了罪恶感，所以我实在不忍心看着他死后2个女儿被送去寄养，并且俩人也愿意和我待在一起。
Did you know Brittany was going to kill her father?
No, I swear to God.
What's up with Laura? She says she loves you. What's that all about?
She loves me like a big brother or an uncle. It's not romantic. That is ridiculous.
Not from where we're sitting. It's not.
If anything, it was a schoolgirl crush. I'm in love with my girlfriend. You can ask her.
结果女友很是力挺永强，虽然警察提到了他伪造遗嘱，但女友也辩解永强是迫不得已。可接着警察就问了一个关键问题
How long have you two been involved?
Almost a year.
所以至今都不同居就很有问题了。而女友也读懂了警察的眼神，她解释是为了考虑姐妹俩。
They need him.
That's what Greg told you?
That's what I know. He's been there for them, more than their own father. He made them dinner, listened to their problems.
I'm sure he's great to them.
He is. Greg and Laura are reading Shakespeare together.
结果警察一看读的竟是《罗密欧与朱丽叶》，并且还有题字。可女友不在乎，她信任自己的男友，这一看就是被深度洗脑了。不过警察也拿不到她的指证了，只能再来找妹妹了。哪知妹妹又改口，和永强的爱属于兄妹情。可本森已看穿这是永强教的。至于一起读《罗密欧与朱丽叶》，他辩解是在学英语，但本森当即说出了题词，明确指出你是朱丽叶，他是罗密欧。
So you two are in love?
You think I'm too young to be in love?
No, not at all. Not with someone your own age.
Juliet was 13. My mother, she killed herself. I'm not like other girls playing with baby dolls. I am a real woman.
Is that what Greg said? Because he told us that it was a schoolgirl crush.
可妹妹根本不信，还自称我们是一对苦命鸳鸯，结果一下就被本森怼了回去。接着在妹妹手足无措之际，坦言我知道和你发生关系的不是父亲，而是永强，但他现在背叛了你。
He wouldn't do that.
But he did. He told us that he was in love with Susan.
You're wrong. Susan doesn't even have a ring on her finger.
That's not what love is.
How would you know? You don't have a ring either.
这句本森还真无法反驳。
But I do.
What?
接着妹妹就从包里拿出了一枚戒指，还称永强已经向我求婚了，等我18岁我们就结婚。这下本森可被惊得不轻，妹妹已被洗脑的厉害，看来也是无药可救了。永强的手段果然高明，并且姐姐也深信强奸妹妹的人是父亲，而这也是杀他的原因。即使本森告诉他妹妹骗了你，他和永强的关系也说谎了，但姐姐不信，于是本森又解释妹妹并非本意，她只是被永强操纵了。可姐姐相信俩人没有恋爱。
Your sister told you that your father was abusing her at night. And she told us that it was on Thursday afternoons when you were at band practice. So when you came home, was your father there? Or was Laura at Greg's apartment?
可姐姐又反驳永强有女友啊。
Was Susan at Greg's apartment on those Thursday afternoons?
对此姐姐是不知道了。随后本森挑明永强根本不爱他女友，他追求的是你妹妹，并且操纵她，让她以为自己坠入爱河。他甚至更进一步的向她求婚了。这下姐姐终于相信本森了，因为她见到过那枚戒指，妹妹一直拿它当作宝。而再仔细一回忆，以前妹妹和永强的一些行为也解释得通了。姐姐很是懊悔，而眼见时机已成熟，本森赶紧趁热打铁，指出罪魁祸首其实是永强，希望他配合工作。至此姐姐也就没啥好推脱的了。随后就带好窃听设备，将永强单独约了出来，警察则在一旁监控。接着姐姐明言我已知道你俩的关系了，不料永强却不承认，声称给戒指只是安慰妹妹，当然也没向她求婚，他是活在幻想的世界里。甚至拉住了姐姐手，安慰她我们会再在一起的。不料姐姐又语出惊人，表示妹妹可能怀孕了，以此试探俩人的关系。起初永强还装傻，但在姐姐的逼视下，不得不承认确实和妹妹发生过关系。而在得到证实后，姐姐当即暴怒了，怒斥她操纵妹妹，欺骗自己亲手杀了父亲。接着情绪失控，一刀捅了过去。不过好在警察及时赶到，安慰永强不要紧，没杀了你就算不错了。随后就把他逮捕了。最后永强数罪并罚，被判了25年。可这场谎言带来的创伤，却已经永久刻在两姐妹的人生里了。